right. You have like a little, have a little thing there.
Hey, you're on.
Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, well, hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to the Meet the Candidates night for the Village of St. Bernard. My name is Brandy Schuldmeyer. I am a local realtor, and if you're wondering why a realtor is hosting this event, it's because I used to work for 700 WLW, and for years I did the news and started hosting this event then, and I can't get enough of it, so I'm just back every year. So thanks for all the candidates for being here tonight. Everyone will have 4 minutes. Dawn is probably going to be timing you. And then, so I just want to start by introducing everybody who's here. So our candidates for treasurer, David Kathman, is here tonight. Shannon Young is not present. And then we have candidates for council, 4 to be elected. Joseph Brinkler, Jeff Edwards, Connor Morton, Gus Stuchel, and Kaliki Rytoff. So we'll be hearing from all of you tonight, and we'll go ahead and start with David Kathman.
Hi, everybody. I'm David Kathman, and St. Bernard has always been home. It's not just where I live. I grew up here. I've spent 30 of my 53 years here, 40 of my 53 years here in St. Bernard. When I was younger, I worked for the service department here in St. Bernard. I grew up and I went to St. Clement. I went to Roger Bacon. Right now, I teach AP Calculus at Roger Bacon. This is my 12th year at Roger Bacon, and I have 30 years of experience in education, all of it, of course, math teaching. There was a time when I also worked at Children's Hospital, and I was an advocate for school services for children with chronic blood disorders. So, as you can tell, I'm no stranger to service, and especially here in St. Bernard. If I'm elected, I will be a third-generation treasurer. My grandfather on my dad's side was treasurer, and my dad was also treasurer for 16 years. I would be honored to be a part of the council and St. Bernard politics, and it would be an honor if I was elected. Once again, I'm David Kathman for treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And again, Shannon Young is not present tonight. So we're going to move on to our candidates for council. And we'll start with Joseph Brickler.
Hi, my name is Joseph Brickler. I've been living in this town since '63. A little closer. Let's see if we can turn that on. There we go. I've been living in this town since I've been in approximately since 1963. Worked with my dad at his drugstore, passing around circulars. This is how I got to know the town. Come 1974, I moved into this town as a young student over at St. Bernard High School. At that point in time, I actually became the varsity wrestler for them 2 years in a row. Since at that time, I've owned many houses, and I seem to wind back here in St. Bernard. I currently own the house up at 4617 Vine Street, next to the Chinese restaurant, and I have a home also at 4807 Chalet. Been working with the CIC for 6 years. I've enjoyed that quite well. I think they've done a lot of good work, and I think this town is good to be a part of. Okay, so that's pretty much my take at this time. So I would like to earn your vote on the 2nd. I'm good with that.
Thank you, Joseph. And now candidate Jeffrey Edwards.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's been an honor to be on our village council the last 2 years. With everyone independent now, everyone on council has been on agreement on most things, with everyone's goal to make St. Bernard a great place to live. I enjoy when residents say, "I'm telling you this because you listen, and we'll try to fix the problem I'm having." I've enjoyed the little things that I have helped with. I like to use the term, just a link in the chain. When our former safety service director asked for a public improvement committee meeting regarding the Langley Avenue project, replacing curbs, sidewalks, streets, resurfacing, I invited Langley Avenue residents to the meeting. Almost 10 residents came to the meeting, giving great input on things like cement or grass between sidewalks and curb. In that case, I believe it was the mayor who offered them a choice. The main concern, however, was speeding on their block, endangering them, but especially their children. I believe it was John Godey of GMA who was overseeing the project, and again, the mayor who suggested a speed hump to slow traffic. With the project completed, it seems to be working. When Patty Hosfeld called a safety committee meeting, I invited the residents of the 4200 block of Sullivan to the meeting because they had also expressed concern over speeding on their block. 4 of the mothers came on that block and gave us great input. The mayor suggested speed bumps this time because the street wasn't being redone. After experimenting with different speed bumps, I believe most, but not all, involved were satisfied with the result. Both times, I was simply a link in the chain, mostly just communicating and asking for input. I've also asked John Godey, who is managing the Greenlee Avenue project, for a stop sign on Greenlee at Delmar. It can be a blind intersection with even more dangerous with cars speeding between Mitchell and Church Street. I'm hoping he can make that happen. When I was wondering what I could bring to council meetings, after a few months, I realized in my report I could actually accentuate all the positive things about St. Bernard. I try to never say no report. If there is a public improvement committee, I will talk about that. If not, I have highlighted things like programs at our public library and great programs given by our St. Bernard Ludlow Grove Society. Things that make our lives better and can give all of our residents a sense of pride in our historical community. Again, being positive, I'd like to say how excited I am about the future with our new Safety Service Director, Mark Wendling, and our new Zone Administrator, A.J. Swire. Both very knowledgeable and motivated to make St. Bernard even a greater place to live. Thank you again for coming. I appreciate if you would consider voting for me. I also believe Gus and Connor have earned re-election because of their skills and effort they have brought to council, but my desire is not only to be elected, but to really like to beat the councilmen because they're so young and they're young enough to be my grandkids. Please help me in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And moving on to one of the candidates you just mentioned, Connor Morton.
Oops. Well, thank you, and thanks for the kind words, Jeff. Well, hello, everyone. Nice to see you all here. This is a great turnout, and especially for folks that are tuning in live, too. I think I've had the privilege of meeting everyone here already, but just in case there are some new folks that are watching on the Facebook page right now, my name is Connor Morton, and it has truly been an honor to serve as your councilman for these past 2 years. 2 years ago, when I was running as a first-time candidate, I promised you all 3 things. I said I would listen, learn, and take action, and I have done exactly that. I improved our listening on council, and myself specifically, by providing multiple channels of feedback from residents. Yes, of course, there's email, there's phone, and the many, many coffee dates that I've gone on, but I've also held a record number of town halls with attendees through 16 community connects over the past 2 years, and a modern record of finance committee meetings with over a dozen committee meetings and acting as the only standing committee, meaning that we have a regularly scheduled meeting out of all 7 committees on council, because I believe in the transparency behind some of our village's largest expenditures. I've also really leaned into learning by inviting experts to the table. Those experts come from the Local Initiative Support Coalition, also known as LISC, energy alliances and partnerships with Alloy Development, our economic development partner. I've also interviewed many of the folks in this room and around the village about our government structure as we went through the charter amendment process. And I led a 15 linear mile audit of our streets and sidewalks through the scope of pedestrian safety. I also have established strategic partnerships with a variety of leaders in our community, including council members from Norwood, Gulf Manor, Cincinnati, Columbus, and more, as well as all 3 of our county commissioners, our state rep, our state senator, and our Congressman Greg Landsman, representing all levels of government. And lastly, all of this comes to fruition by taking action, and that's through both legislation and resource sharing. That's why I'm really excited about a few initiatives that are coming to fruition here soon, including our home repair program partnership with LISC, allowing folks who are receiving code violations for dilapidated parts of their homes we're going to help connect the dots so that they can make those repairs without sending them into an economic crisis. I'm also really excited that energy aggregation is on the ballot. This is an initiative that was brought to me by a resident about a year and a half ago. We went through a committee that Jeff and I are on, our Public Improvements Committee, and worked hard to get that choice on your ballot this November 4th alongside with voting for these positions. Lastly, I'm very, very excited about a collaboration with the County Prosecutor's Office and the County Commissioner Denise Driehaus's office for a county-wide initiative to protect LGBTQ folks from discrimination, because the impact that we can have isn't just confined to the bounds of this square mile of a village. We can have an impact larger by setting an example for communities in our area too. So all of that I share with you because I ask for you to let me continue this work. I love this village. I love my neighbors, even the ones that I disagree with. And I love this work. So I just ask you all to please consider giving me your vote. Again, I'm Connor Morton, and it truly has been a privilege to serve as your councilman these past 2 years, and I hope that you'll let me continue to do that for years and years and years in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. And next we have council candidate Kaliki Rytov.
Thank you, Brandy. Good evening, everybody. Anyone who knows me well knows that fall is my time of the year. Today, that means ugly pumpkins arranged on the front porch, flat pumpkins in hues of white, blue, and orange, knucklehead pumpkins with their warts and bumps, and the vivid, almost blood red and green turban squashes. My eldest in second grade always picks out the bluest gourds, and my baby is content with any squash that he can hug as he toddles around. Fall also means transitioning from Boston ferns on the front porch to mums, and it heralds the burnished colors of fallen leaves and the crisp coolness of autumn mornings. It marks the passing of summer as plants, insects, and animals retreat to rest. When I was little in Covington, we didn't have the fancy ugly pumpkins that are popular now. In my memory and my mom's photo albums, we had standard jack-o'-lanterns, proper orange, smooth sides, ideal for carving. The leaves seemed to fall sooner back then, the maples a hardy orange and the oaks cooler in tone, a soft umber color. We would rake them into piles and jump into them, happily resigned to sneezing for minutes afterwards. One Halloween it snowed, and we had to pile on our winter coats over our costumes so we could trick or treat. Here in St. Bernard, my eldest hasn't had to trick or treat between snowflakes, but he's had plenty of leaves, box elder and ash and oak, to jump in, and he patiently saves the seeds from his blue pumpkins every year. My son wouldn't have these formative experiences and the memories they make had we not had the opportunity to buy our house in St. Bernard. I've lived in college towns, I've lived in major cities. But we bought our house in the village because St. Bernard offers the vision of community that I want for my family. There are sidewalks. Where I grew up in Covington, the subdivisions were not designed with sidewalks. There are porches, playgrounds, parks, parades. My second grader and I mourned the loss of Old Coney. St. Bernard has a pool. We have a top-notch service department that's detail-oriented and responsive. My children can walk to school. When our dogs got out, a neighbor whom we'd never met before corralled them and called the police, and I was able to bring the dogs safely back home. It's thanks to these qualities of St. Bernard that I'm running for council at large, because I see how beautiful the village is and how its rich history makes it rich in potential too as St. Bernard grows. The new buildings for St. Bernard Elmwood Place City Schools, the shopping district project on Vine, even the faux red brick crosswalks. The growth that the village is experiencing is strengthening the vibrant, robust community that already exists. As we grow, I want to make sure that the growth keeps the village values we all treasure: neighborliness, safety, and beauty in the tapestry of residents and homes. That's why I'm running for council, to help protect what makes St. Bernard feel like home while ensuring every resident, old and new, has a voice in shaping its future. In every role I've held, whether professor, parent, neighbor, mentor, or volunteer, I've learned that good communities start with listening. People have strong opinions because they care. On council, I want to make sure every resident feels heard, whether they've inherited their home, have just bought their first, or are renting. I'm also running because I take pride in caring for what I love, whether that's putting together a fall porch display with ugly pumpkins, mums, and ornamental cabbage, or keeping our streets and parks safe for children. On council, that means taking care of our infrastructure, supporting our service department, and ensuring decisions are made with transparency and fiscal sense. Last but not least, I'm running because I believe stewardship is the heart of good government. Like so many families here, my family chose St. Bernard because it's a safe, thriving place to raise our children, a place where porches matter and neighbors look out for each other. I want my children, every child in this village, and every resident to feel proud to call St. Bernard home. On council, that means keeping housing accessible, supporting small businesses, and maintaining the sense of belonging that drew us all here in the first place. So often, fall is characterized as things wilting and dying. In fact, there's essential growth taking place as plants die back and shift their energies to prepare for next year's burst of new life. My mums that I transplanted to the flower bed a year ago have already blossomed with their fiery foliage, and our village of St. Bernard is blooming as well, bursting with color, energy, and promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaliki. We did want to mention that another council candidate, Greg Lair, is not present this evening. So the last council candidate we'll be hearing from before moving on to questions is Gus Stuchel.
Hello, I'm Gus Stuchel, and I'm honored to be running for re-election to St. Bernard Village Council in 2025. St. Bernard is more than just where I live. It's where my family has put down deep roots, and it's a community that shaped who I am today. I grew up here, attending St. Clement School and graduating from Roger Bacon High School. I continued my education at the University of Cincinnati, where I earned my bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics, and later a master's degree in public administration. That degree has been especially valuable in my role on council. It gave me the tools to understand how local government works, how to manage budgets, evaluate policy, and strengthen local government operations. Combined with my firsthand experience of living and working in St. Bernard, my education has prepared me to serve this community with both passion and competence. Since being elected, I've worked hard to put that preparation into action. I currently serve as chair of the Service Committee and also sit on the Laws, Contracts, and Claims Committee, as well as the Safety Committee. In these roles, I've been able to focus on bringing back important programs, supporting our service department, and creating opportunities for our residents to enjoy our community resources. One of my first actions on council was to bring back Shred Day, giving residents a safe and efficient way to dispose of old documents at no cost. I also continue Clean Up St. Bernard Day, which helps us take pride in our community and keeping our neighborhoods clean, safe, and friendly. Another important project I've been working on is the revision of our municipal hall rental contracts. I've been assisting our former and current safety service directors on this project, and while the revised contract is still being finalized, the plan is for the rentals to resume at the beginning of 2026. This effort will allow residents to once again enjoy the use of our halls, and I'm proud to be part of making that happen. In addition to my council work, I've also had the privilege of serving as St. Bernard's lead community navigator for We Thrive, an initiative of Hamilton County Public Health that works with communities, schools, and organizations to promote long-term improvements in health, safety, and well-being. Through this role, my team and I assisted in completing a landscape review of 15 linear miles of streets, sidewalks, and parks with Councilman Morton, assessing how well our infrastructure supports walkability and accessibility. We also created a brand new free little library at Chalet Park, which will be installed this week with the help of our incredible service department. More free little libraries will be added along our new walking trail in the future to encourage literacy, exercise, and social connection. Another We Thrive project I've worked on is the revamping of our welcome packets for both new and current residents, ensuring everyone has the resources they need to feel connected, engaged, and supported in our community. To support these efforts, I've chosen to dedicate my We Thrive stipend directly back to these projects, funding them without additional costs to taxpayers. Through both my service on council and my leadership with We Thrive, my goal has remained the same: to bring fresh energy, practical solutions, and innovative ideas to the table, while always staying grounded in the values that make St. Bernard such a close-knit and welcoming community. I'm running for re-election because I believe the work we have started is only the beginning. Together, we can continue to strengthen our neighborhoods, support our families, and invest in the future of this village. As the saying goes, it takes a village, and I truly believe that when we work together, council, residents, and community partners, we can ensure that St. Bernard remains a place we are proud to call home. I will be grateful for your support, and I look forward to continuing to serve you on Village Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Gus. And now we'll move on to questions. And after reviewing, they're actually very similar. So we can kind of tell what's important and what's on people's minds right now. These are, again, for all candidates. So David, you're off the hook. But there are a lot of empty storefronts in St. Bernard. So what will you do to help attract business and residents if you're elected?
Do you want to go in a certain order or chime in whenever?
It's up to you. How about you go first?
There you go.
I have a lot of opinions on this. So, like I mentioned in my intro speech, We have an economic development partner, and they are called Alloy Development. That's a collaboration that we've built with the county. They're the county's chosen economic partner as well. I met with them, oh my gosh, it was a long time ago. I think this was before I was elected back in 2023, to discuss the economic state of the village. They later came to council and presented to us as well. And they highlighted a lot of the advantages we have economically as a village, including our proximity to two major highways, the Bridget Kelly Norwood Lateral and 75, our proximity to hospitals and schools, our amazing walkable community, all great things. But they did highlight one thing that we're missing. It's density. And it's not density of our houses or density in any other regard other than the amount of people that live in our village within I think they quoted a 15-minute walk. Businesses want to be somewhere where there are a lot of people there to shop. So we had made it a goal to build that density, and that's why I'm so excited for the project that's happening at the Vine Street Shopping District. I think that's absolutely going to help us build density. I'll be the first to say, no, I don't think it's a smart idea for us to try to get above 5,000 residents and get back up to our city status. The advantages that come with that do not outweigh, or the advantages that come with that are not more important than all of the difficulties that would face with it. So I firmly believe that if we lean into density per Alloy Development's advice, while also keeping our village charm and acknowledging that potential of being that boutique community, that is what we need to economically develop this area. Density first, then the shops will come.
Thank you. Thanks for volunteering to go first. Kaliki, would you like to answer the question?
Sure, yes. So I haven't had the chance to do the research that Connor has, and probably Gus and others. But I want to jump on the idea of the mixed-use buildings, like the shopping district on Vine right now. I do think that mixed-use buildings where you can have a boutique, a storefront on the bottom, housing above, I think that's probably one of the smartest ways forward with regards to that situation. I'm happy to also kind of talk to you later and find out more, but that's my immediate answer right now.
Thank you. Gus?
Wait, is it on? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so kind of what Connor and Kaliki both touched on is that the mixed-use development, once that is completed, will hopefully promote more businesses coming in because, like Connor said, it'll increase the foot traffic, and then also with the other exciting projects going on in town, like the expansion that Roger Bacon is having, that can promote more foot traffic to St. Bernard, along with the new school that St. Bernard has completed as well. There's more eyes on the town, and hopefully that can draw in more businesses as well.
Jeff?
I just had recently found out that I was on a committee that is focusing on Vine Street. It's Urban Architects Yard and Company. They've divided Vine Street into 3 sections. And we actually had a meeting about a month ago, and we actually walked up and down Vine Street, and we talked about how some of the businesses, you can't even tell if it's occupied, you can't tell if it's a business, but they're going to give us ideas on what to do. And I thought too, I think Gus or Connor mentioned Alloy. We could even go with Yard and Company, Alloy, and even with the developer for the shopping center, if we could get their ideas together, I think that's would be the best thing to do. But I think it's being worked on. We even walked through the old police station, and they had ideas about boutique restaurants and different things in there. So, I mean, it's valuable to get new ideas from different people, not just people from St. Bernard that haven't been exposed to a lot of things. So I was real impressed with them.
Thank you. And Joseph, any ideas that you're going to focus on for attracting residents and business?
Well, actually, I'm wholeheartedly agree with Connor. In fact, I think we've been preaching this in the city for a very long time. Since I've been on the CIC board, with the good leadership we do have in that, we are actually slowly succeeding. It's a matter of just red tape, getting it through, and making it done the right way, and completing this job. I want to continue working with that on both sides of the fence.
Thank you. Did we have any other questions? I think those were the big areas that, like I said, it seems like those were the key points that we wanted to focus on. So we want to thank all you candidates for being here tonight. And we thank you for sharing your time and your ideas and your plans for the village so that we can help make some good decisions on election night. And we want to thank Don Taberkey for organizing this event again and putting this on. It's very helpful, and we appreciate everyone's time and efforts in being here. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Yes, thank you.